All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is New Project Day. We all know how much we love New Project Day around here. What we got here is some walnut, some hard maple, and some cherry. What I plan on doing, you didn't see that, did you? Some walnut, some hard maple, and some cherry. What I plan on doing is making a couple of butcher blocks. I want to make some bigger ones, some honkers, as I like to call them. I don't really have a good plan, or, it's not really well thought out. I'm just going to kind of wing these ones. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So, saddle up, partner. Alrighty, well, first order of business here is to measure these boards and cut them to length. Take them on over to the miter station and do just that. As you can see, the shop's pretty chilly these days. Hopefully someday I'll insulate it like a normal person would do. Now that those are all cut, I get to start thinking about the end grain patterns. Things I'm going to be looking for are the grain orientations here. So these ones you can kind of see a little bit more vertical, while these ones kind of shoot off in a weird horizontal pattern, kind of unique. Same up here. These ones are all pretty similar over here, pretty standard. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of fun stuff going on there. But if you come along with me to the other side, so don't mind that top one, but even though it's the same. So you got this here dark part right here. This is the heartwood, and this really shows in the end grain. And this heartwood going through here, you can't see it obviously because it's underneath the paint, but it'll also show in this end grain. And that's really going to kind of help me pick my patterns when I go to cut it. Before I can cut them though, I have to run all the edges over the jointer just to get them straight. This will give me a good reference cut when I take them to the table saw, and it will ensure all my cuts are perfectly straight on the table saw. So really just joining one side of the board will guarantee a equal width of the board after I run it through the table saw. And here I decided where I want to make my cuts, kind of trying to highlight the specific grain patterns per individual board. This will allow me to really kind of place everything together in the way I want it to, in the way I want it to appear. And back to the jointer we go. Now we are just cleaning up all the saw marks we just made on the table saw. This will give us a clean surface to do the glue up on. Alright, so that was a lot of jointer work. Not really my favorite thing to do either. So, alright, let's take you over here. Got everything kind of laid out. And now begins the fun process of just kind of laying it out in the way I want it, and getting, like I said before, getting the grain arranged and the patterns that I think would look really great on cutting boards. Yeah, what he said. I think he explained it better than I could. So we'll go with that. And here I am just applying a couple of more clamps to this here handy dandy jig I made. You've probably seen it in a couple of my videos now, and proves to be quite useful. And the infamous glue up. You guys all know by now how terrifying these are for me. So easy to mess up. But if you just take your time, apply a little bit of patience, you'll get it just right. Yeah, I guess when you're doing this, slow is fast. And if you're still here, I'm assuming it's for a reason. Assuming you are at least halfway interested in what I am presenting to you. And if that's the case, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. It will help me out, and you'll get great content. I'll be producing much more of it, and there's already a gang of stuff on there in my channel that you can view. So it's a win-win for all of us. Also, you can share it with your friends and your family. I won't be mad at that if you do. And here we bust out the handy dandy, I say handy dandy a lot, but it's a handy dandy belt sander. And the reason I'm doing this, it's a step that you don't really have to take, but I like to clean off all the glue nubs before I run through the planer. This kind of prolongs the life of your planer blades, and I'm not interested in changing things out when I don't have to, so I just like to take the extra time and the extra steps to protect my investments, I guess you would say. So I had a handful of you folks reach out to me about that adjustable height outfeed table slash sawhorse slash, whatever you want it to be, really. I designed it to help me support logs for an Alaskan chainsaw mill, but I found it didn't really work well for that. So now it's just a little helper around the shop, and it does a great job. And here is a critical step in setting the thickness, the overall thickness of the end result of your cutting board. Obviously, there will still be some planing to do once you get it all glued up, but 2 inches what I went here, and I believe I told you guys that I'm making a honker, and I think a 2-inch thick butcher block is considered a honker. It's a big board. Big heavy board. So remember earlier in the video when I was pointing out and highlighting the heartwood in those boards? Well, that's what you're looking at there in the middle of this board. That's what I'm trying to arrange into a pattern. I had an idea in mind, and now I'm just kind of going through and really honing it in. Now I'm just lightly sanding. That's 220 grit right there. Lightly sanding every single board or every single piece just to clean up all the little burrs on the end of it, each piece. Very soon here, you're going to see why woodworking can be so maddening at times. It'll throw curveballs. It'll bite you like a snake in the grass. And that's what happened here. And allow me to explain in person. To first watch me freak out about this here glue up. Try to get it right. Okay, so that was no fun. I had a little frantic moment during this here glue up. I don't know really what caused this, but it seems the center of each individual row, I guess you would say, was just a hair wider than the outside edge of each one. So that in itself with just 2 pieces probably wouldn't be a huge issue, but when you get the combined length of the entire glue up, it made it so there are some little gaps on a lot of these little segments, and I'm not sure why I encountered that. It's definitely the first time I've seen that happen, and hopefully the last. But I'm gonna see what I can do to salvage this sucker. And if you look on top, I don't know how well it's gonna show up, but you can see that these end pieces, more exaggerated up here, it's kind of a cup. You don't see that down here in the middle ones, obviously, because they're sandwiched in it. Yeah, down here you can kind of see that. Just a weird little cupping motion. So this is one of those things that makes woodworking so frustrating, but it's it's a learning experience too. And I would probably learn a lot from it if I knew what caused it, but I don't really know what caused it because I've followed this same method on a lot of my boards and they've all been just fine. But this big bad mammer jammer wanted to be finicky, and that's okay. I welcome it. I welcome the finicky part of this job, but it's still annoying. Okay, so as I kind of just went over, here's sort of the issue that I'm running into. And after some contemplating, I devised a plan of action. Just know that's super exaggerated. I'm just highlighting it. So here's kind of the shape of my board. And what I need to do is get it cleaned up. Okay, I got glue, got all kinds of crap. So, and here's all the individual slats. Again, super exaggerated. So, and then they get straighter, straighter towards the center. And then they kind of start doing this again. Why? I don't know. Who knows? But that's not the point right now. I will do some research into that and figure that out. So what my plan here is, first things first, let's just call that one slat. I need to straighten this out. That needs to be straight and this needs to go. Then I can put my currently flat piece of sacrificial on there. This piece is meant to take the brunt of when I run it through the planer and when I run it over the joiner. That way this piece doesn't get all chipped, which is what would end up happening. This is the piece that will get all chipped on those sides. So I just need to apply that sacrificial piece. I can't apply that until this curve is gone. And then once I get this sacrificial piece on, I could then run this surface over the jointer and get it flattened out. And then once it's flattened out, I can run this surface through the table saw. And once that's through the table saw, then I have these flat surfaces and I can just throw that over the miter saw and just clip it off. But I need to get all that done just so I can get all my profiles in, and then I could think about adding the juice groove and then sanding and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. And then also once this is all in, all done, I can really evaluate how bad those little gaps are. Those are worrying me. So for any of you folks out there who are smarter than I am and might have some theories as to why I encountered that issue, please feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you would have done differently. Tell me why this happened. I have a couple of theories in mind, and I will be glad to post them in the description of this video. So let me know what you think. I'll let you know what I think, and let's get the conversation started. Typically, you wouldn't run an end grain board like this over your jointer, but I did apply the sacrificial piece to the end, and that's what's going to be taking to Brent and doing all the splintering. And now I am doing the other side. The same principle applies here as it did when I was cutting the boards. I am ensuring that the width of my board will be consistent through the length. And because the board came out of the glue up a little wobbly, I gotta put it on this here planer sled and secure it with some jizz. And this will prevent it from wobbling in the planer and allow me to get a flat surface. Note that I am making very, very small passes with the planer right now. If you're going to run it and ungrained anything through your planer, you really want to play it safe and just do tiny, tiny passes. And here's why it's important to have a sacrificial piece. This is what it would look like if I didn't put it there, and there it goes. And now I'm just cleaning up both the edges, and it's all squared up. Okay, so as you guys saw, that glue up wasn't the best glue up in the world because of that issue I ran into. But I have done this in the past, and I will likely continue to do it in the future, and it seems to work out amazing. A little mixture of Titebond 2 Dark along with some walnut shavings, and I'm just putting it in any little voids I see. Even if you don't have, even if your glue ups are perfect, you could still find little voids anywhere in your board. It's always important to just kind of nose up, fill them in, sand them down, get it all smooth, and you'll be glad you spent the time to do that. I promise. And this is what it looks like when you forget to hit record on your camera. Good thing for me, though, I have a security camera in my shop, and, well, I never miss a moment. But the video quality isn't, well, nearly as sharp as an iPhone's. We'll just say that. But you know what? You get to see me applying a juice groove. Also, don't judge me on how dirty it is underneath my workbench. Typically that area doesn't see the other end of the lens, but, well, it is now. And now just rounding over all the edges, except for the top surface edge. Lately I've been finding it looks amazing if that edge doesn't get a round over at all. So I'm doing a large round over on the bottom and no round over on top. I've always liked wide handholds, so I start on most of my boards. I leave 2 inches of board on either side, and then however wide the board is, the handhold is going to be in between those 2 inches. That's how I like to do it. Once I get those stop blocks all set up, we'll begin making my passes. All of my adjustments are 1/8 of an inch. So I'll do a pass, and then I'll adjust it back 1/8 of an inch. And this every time gives me very minimal burnout, super consistent handholds. And here are my old man's Omni visors. Okay, time to start sanding this sucker. I got the juice groove in, which looks great in my opinion. And I got the handholds in, and the edges rounded to a 3/4 inch round over. This is the profile I'm going to keep. I actually thought about putting another big handhold on the side. I've done that before in the past. It looks cool. It's functional. Gives you other options to easily grab it. But in this case, I just decided to keep the handholds traditional and on the outside. So, the juice groove burnout in these suckers is just a pain in the butt to clean, to sand out and clean. But I discovered a handy dandy little device. And by device, I mean a little laser cut piece of steel with a 3/4 inch little round nub right there. And it's a scraper. I mean, we've all used scrapers before, but all you really do is just go back and you get a really nice, you should get little shavings, but little kind of curly cues, and everything gets cleaned up real nice with it. So this is a great alternative to spending a lot of time sanding inside the juice groove, I find. Because no one wants to do that. Ain't no one got time for that, all right? Let's just be honest here. No one's got time for that. But everyone has time for this. Take a look at that. So, anyways, I didn't know these existed up until recently, and I will leave a link in the description for you to purchase your own. Just a little housekeeping correction here. I did say 3/4 inch round over. I meant to say 3/8 inch round over. That's what that is. And it looks great. Okay, just a quick review on that little juice groove scraper. Again, I've never used it before. Kind of a gamble. I'm like, I need to figure out a better way to do these juice grooves because I'm spending way too much stinking time on it. It's a company called DMF Toolworks, and holy cow, did that work really well. Just to, up close, not sponsored by them in any way, I just really enjoyed using this. It really beat sanding. Now, of course, you're still gonna need to sand. I find that this did have a hard time getting into the corners, but any burning you would have like in the main straight of the juice groove, piece of cake, done deal. Way better than sanding. All right, that's that. Go get yourself one. And here's my favorite part that I never mess up. I'm just kidding. It's not my favorite part, and I hope I never mess it up. This one came out pretty darn good. And here I am raising the grain. I find that if you have a thin, it doesn't apply to this one, if you have a thin end grain butcher block, you raise the grain on just one side, you have potential to let that board warp on you. It happened on more than one of mine, so I realized what was going on. And ever since I realized it, I started spraying both sides at the same time. And it doesn't happen. So, a little pro tip for you right there. And so here I am applying my mineral oil. I like to get a maroon pad or just those pads, a Scotch-Brite pad, and rub in that mineral oil. I find that it kind of gives it a nice sheen when it's done. And then when I go to a whatever you call the 4-0 white pad, that's what I'll finish with, and gives it a real good look when it's done. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about my finishing process or comments. Let me know if you think if you think I'm doing it all wrong. You can let me know that too. I love to hear about it all. All right, folks, we're done. And here she is. I will say this this board did not come without its challenges, but I think I overcame them all right. And here we have a finished product. Yeah, this sucker's a tank, which is exactly what I was going for. And you know what? It could be all yours. Check out the shop, it might still be available. Who knows? I gotta say, you're still here, you're watching this video. I commend you. You rock. You made it through all my babbling, all my nonsense, all my gibberish. If you love my content, consider subscribing to my channel, sharing with your friends and your family, and checking out what T7 Woodworks has to offer at the old shop, t7woodworks.com. Thank you.